Hey, everybody. I want to talk to this. I want to address people that complain about the internet, that complain about social media and things like that. I grew up in an era without the internet, okay? Everything that happened within our world in this small town that I grew up in. Okay, so there was no way, like once a friend left your life, once they moved from schools, or even after high school, there was no way to stay in touch with them at all. You just wondered whatever happened to them and, how they were doing and things like that. Well, so fine. About a year after I graduated in 95, we got the internet. Now, in its infinite stages, the internet was on a dial up 20K modem, 28K modem. You had to, if you didn't have a second phone line coming into it, you'd get bumped off the internet if somebody called you, or they would get a busy signal trying to get through. And I can still hear the crashing sound of when the internet was fired up, like when you'd log in, it'd make this crashing sound. And so it took a few years before you could actually watch any videos on the internet. So in its infinite stages, like around 95, you it would take 1 minute to load a page just to read. There was no availability to watch any videos on this or anything, okay? So a couple years later, finally, you could watch some videos, but they were very grainy, not good picture, very slow. It would cut in and out. And then it took even another couple years before the advent of cable modems, you know, for households to have, where it totally just increased the speed of the internet. And so you could download videos, you could watch videos. But what I'm getting at is, like with Facebook and things like that, people complain about Facebook, and I get it. I've had my issues with them too, but it allows you to connect with people. I've met so many wonderful people from all around the world that have been important to my life over the last couple of decades, and that would have never happened without the internet. Okay, we have to embrace technology. It's just like with artificial intelligence. All right, in the hands of the wrong people, yeah, it's a problem. But when it's used for good reasons, it can help improve our lives immensely and help us out. It's also like with, when people were driving around in the 1800s in a horse and buggy, right? Well, I'm sure they were resistant to the advent of trains, the advent of cars, but we evolve, and just like with the internet, what it's allowed me to do that my parents at the time didn't have that connection with is that it's allowed me to connect with old friends and just at a distance see how they're doing. Yes, it's closed a lot of us off from the rest of the world because we're in our own phones and doing that thing, but let's look at the good part of it. There are so many people out there you could hook up with and talk to and become friends with that you would have never been able to do without the internet. Okay? So let's not complain too much about it. And with Facebook, you can check in on old classmates, see what they're doing, have that connection, drop in and say hi to them. That was never possible before. I mean, a lot of people now have grown up and they're in their 30s and they don't even understand what a life would be like without the internet. So just embrace it too. Look at the good sides of it. We evolve. Like I said, we evolve from the horse and buggy to the car, from the radio to television to color television, and then on through to the internet. All right, it allows you to keep those connections with people if you want to just say hi to them. The other thing too is like I said, I've met so many wonderful people through the internet and made so many deep connections with people from all over the world, from Australia, Canada, Scandinavia, even a couple from Russia, everywhere, Africa, everywhere you could imagine. And it's just been really amazing, okay? So don't take the internet for granted. It hooked us all up as a world. Yes, it puts us all in our own bubble at times. I get it, but it's made it possible so we could connect with each other and stay connected and meeting all kinds of wonderful people. I just wanted to kind of say that on a rant. Embrace the internet. Embrace things like Facebook for all the faults Facebook has. And like I said, I have my issues with Facebook, okay? I totally do. But it's allowed me to be able to connect with old schoolmates of mine, be able to drop them a line when I needed to and say, hi, how are you doing? What's been going on in your life? And it allows us to post, we can post pictures. We don't need to have an old Kodak camera and a scrapbook to keep pictures in. Yes, I miss those days a little bit myself. I miss those days when the world wasn't so complicated like that. But I look at the positives of it. I outweigh the positives versus the negatives because the internet has brought us all together in a way, but yet let us have our own space. So when you hear people bitch about social media, platforms, and bitch about the internet, it's really a wonderful thing. It changed and revolutionized the world. Yes, there are problems with it. There's censorship that goes on. There's this, there's that. But try to put those issues to the side for a second and understand. And especially anybody younger than 40 who's hearing what I have to say, it wasn't like that at all. You can't even imagine, and thankfully so, you can't even imagine the different world it was in the early 90s, and then fast forward into the late 90s when the internet started getting fast enough to actually, watch videos and have a decent conversation with people from all over the place. Yeah, and I know I hear people complain. I would hear older people when the internet first came out say, oh, that damn internet is ruining the world. No, it's not. It's really a wonderful thing. So just keep that in mind, people.